Hey, Ron from Dr. Smoke Pellet Grills here. Today I'm going to try to do the boat method that everyone's talking about on the forums. It's, instead of wrapping it in butcher paper, people are actually making a little boat for this thing, and from what I've seen, it comes out really good. So let's give it a shot and see what we get. First, let's talk about the brisket that I chose. Here's my brisket. When I went to Sam's Club, there was only 2 briskets to choose from. I wanted a little bit more of a selection, so I rang the bell and the butcher came out. I asked for the largest briskets that they had because the ones that were out there were less than 15 pounds. They brought me one more out to pick from. It was about 16 pounds. But it had a ton of hard fat on it that you could feel when you touched it. A lot of that hard fat gets trimmed off, so that adds weight to it. I realized it wasn't worth it to buy that one. So I went back and looked at the ones that were there. This is the one that I chose. I chose this because there's not a ton of fat to carve off of it, but there is some nice soft fat on it. This soft fat cooks down and gives you a lot of the flavor that you have in your brisket. A lot of times the hard fat is up top here, so this one doesn't seem to have all that. And you can also see how flexible this one is. I like that. Flexible means it's softer fat. If it's real hard, you're gonna be trimming a lot of that off and losing some weight, so why spend the extra money? It's time to carve this thing up, trim some of the fat off. I am no expert at doing this. There's plenty of videos on YouTube for you guys to watch to see exactly how you should do it. Basically, the trick is don't cut too much fat off because the fat is good. You don't want too much fat, but you want enough. So don't overdo it. I patted this dry. It makes it a little bit easier to grip. Now, you can touch it and feel some of the hard fat. So I have a chunk of hard fat right here. What I want to do is see how far down it goes and where it connects. I want to gently start slicing it off. If you got to do it a couple times to get it off, then do that. But try not to trim it all off. The knife that I'm using here is a boning knife. It's very sharp. It's a cheap knife. It only costs a couple dollars. But I feel that it works really well for what I'm doing. As you can see, it has no problem slicing through this fat. This is harder fat too. Okay, let's get this little piece off here. Anything that kind of hangs off, you want to get rid of. When you cook the brisket, that stuff that hangs off will dry out and not taste very good. here you have it. This is my trimmed brisket. I cleaned up the edges on it. I trimmed off any of the hard fat, which there actually wasn't a lot. Left a nice layer of the soft fat that was already here. The butcher that originally trimmed this did a good job. I didn't have a whole lot to cut off of there. You can push on it and you can feel some spots that you may not be happy with. You can just get rid of those. But for the most part, I'm happy with this. I'm gonna go ahead and get my dry rub on here and wrap this up and get it in the refrigerator. As you can see, that's all I trimmed off of it. It's a couple of pounds. Nothing really good there. You can pick that up and get it to the door if you want. Put your dry rub on. For dry rub, I use salt and pepper, 50-50. And then I'll add some onion, granulated onion powder, and granulated garlic powder. About a quarter of each of those. And I also add some smoked paprika, which is a nice little addition, and it gives it a little bit of a redness to it. This also works great on ribs. Here's my mixture. Every time I make a big batch of it. I'll add it to these containers. When I run out, I'll make another batch. So we're gonna go ahead and start sprinkling it on here. Not enough. Let's go. Try not to do too much. I don't like to overdo it. You can always add some when you're cooking. And I'll go ahead and rub that in. I don't use a binder. It sticks no problem. Get it in there underneath the fat. Flip it over. Trying to keep my hands clean. And repeat. Good thing about this countertop, you can't tell what I spilled all over it. So I'll go ahead and rub that in. Get down in the corners there. Get the sides. Push it into the fat. There you have it. Next, I'm going to wrap this in press and seal, and it's going to go in the refrigerator overnight. I'm cooking this brisket tomorrow morning. Prepping it today gives me a chance to sleep in a little bit longer. It may not help to put the dry rub on and put it in the refrigerator. That's disputed between people. I prefer to do it that way. I like it. It works for me. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just say, hey, I'm going to do it right before I put it on the smoker. Cool. I like it like that. This is press and seal. This stuff works really well. I wrap it in there. I smack it a little bit. I have a sip of my favorite beverage, Yang Lang or Yingling. And I put this baby to rest in the refrigerator till tomorrow. Okay, so I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, bright and early. I'd like to have this for dinner. So you know what that means, getting up at the crack of dawn, start the smoker from the bed, because I got a Green Mountain Grills. I'll connect on the app, I'll get it started, get it to temperature, come out here. I'll have my brisket sitting out waiting for me. I like for it to cool down to room temperature, so I usually take it out at least an hour before I'm going to put it on the smoker so it can cool down some or actually warm up. And we'll take it from there. We'll see tomorrow how good this thing comes out, and we're gonna try this boat method. Good morning. I got up at 3 o'clock. I took the meat out of the refrigerator. I set it out. I came out here around 4:30 in the morning. I had the smoker ready to go. I started it from bed and everything was good. I put it on here. I didn't do any recording because it's the early morning and I don't like recording. But let's take a look and see what we have here. There it is. Looking good. I just hit the stall period. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning. My food temperature is 174 degrees. Usually I stall around 160 something. This one's stalling at 174. My smoker temp is 227. I had to lower it a little bit because I felt like it was cooking too fast. So let's go and take a look at the brisket itself. Looks good. That side up. I prefer to wrap my briskets after they come out of the stall because I get a better bark that way. So as soon as this thing starts to pull through the stall, I'm going to come back out here and wrap it up, do the boat, and we'll see what happens from there. I'm going for it. My internal temperature is 180 degrees. I feel like it's pulled through the stall. So let's go ahead, open this up. There it is, beautiful. I put a little bit of aminos in the bottom here just to add some flavor to the juice. Go ahead and take this out. It's got great jiggle to it. It's really windy, so I had to hold my foil down a little bit. So you're going to roll your edges. And this is to create the boat. You want to get it pretty tight up against it. Now on this side, you're going to roll this and then push it up tight. You want to leave a little bit of room in there so that the juice has somewhere to go. If not, it's going to come out the sides. And the whole point of this is that we save the juice. We're trying to contain some heat in there, and I think we're good to go. Now I just got to lift it up, put it back on, reinsert my temperature probe. Okay. My temperature has been averaging about 225 degrees. So we're going to leave it at that. I feel like that's a good temperature. If I notice that the meat temperature is not moving enough, I'll go ahead and bump that up some. I try not to go higher than 250 degrees. So let's give this a shot and we'll check back in a little bit. It's time to pull it off. The temperature is 202 on the internal. I've been probing it and the probe pulls out like I'm probing butter. So I say it's ready. Let's take a look. Very nice. Look at it jiggling. It's like a molded jello. Plenty of juice in the bottom. Pulls right out. Very easy. Look at that thing. That's what you want right there. This is reading 204. All right, so now I get to pull it out of here and hopefully not burn myself. There's a lot of juice. I'm going to try to save the juice and use it to pour on the brisket. I'm just going to slide it right onto the tray. We're going to take this in the house and put it into a container so it can cool down. We're going to cover it with a little bit more foil and a towel. It's going to sit for probably an hour or two until I'm ready to eat dinner, and then we'll slice it up and I'll show you guys what it looks like. It's time. This brisket is loaded with juices. They're still coming out. It's cooled down just a little bit. Now I'm going to put it into this container here and put some tin foil over top of it and give it a few hours to cool down. And I'll slice it up later and let you guys have a look. This is just a Rubbermaid container. I don't have my cooler right now, so this will work. I'm going to take the tin foil, cover the top of it. The reason I'm doing this is I don't want it to cool down too quick. I want it to cool down nice and slow so the juices stay inside. Put a towel on top. Cover it and just let it sit there. I've been patiently waiting to tear into this thing, so let's do it. I can still feel the heat coming off of it. It's been sitting in here for maybe 3 hours now. It's got some serious jiggle. That's a good sign. I want to save all that juice down in there. All right, here we go. Beautiful. That was super easy. You ready? Let's have a look. Well, there it is, the boat method. I'm pretty happy with it. It's not the perfect smoke ring, but I'll tell you what, this thing is juicy, and I can't wait to tear into that for dinner. So, if you want, give it a shot. Let us know what you think. Please like and subscribe to our channel. We appreciate it. We have these shirts, which are pretty cool shirts. We custom designed these. We have these for sale. If you'd like one, let us know. We also have hoodies. They're zip up hoodies. There you go. Look at that. I wish you could try it. You can. Make your own. Have a good night.